Hi guys, welcome to the channel. Welcome to those subscribers and any new viewers out there. I've got a bit of a different idea for a video. I usually just post previews to themes I'm making, etc. But I've had an idea for some time and a few people have requested it if I could maybe do a couple of videos on how I make these themes, and it might give you some ideas, some tips, a bit of a guide. It's not really a Hursty's theme school, which I've sort of jokingly called it, but I thought I'd provide some files to get people started, and then sort of talk about what those files are and what they do, and then there'd probably be quite a few videos going into the XML code, and I thought I would tweak all the little elements, and then we'd show what they actually do to the theme so you get a bit of an idea of how it all works. I'm not a guru at this stuff. I'm not a coder. In fact, I actually hate code. I don't really understand code, but I know how to manipulate it and what it does in a lot of cases. When I started a couple of years ago, I just did a track mode themes, and Emulation Station Themes just seemed so scary to me. David Marty's a good mate of mine. We chat all the time. Back then, he started to give me a few tips, a couple more tips, and a bit of here and there. And it wasn't too long before I was on my way. And he sort of, every time I chat to him and we talk about how many themes I've done, it's sort of quite funny where it all started. And then I just went crazy with it. So I can blame him. So in the link, there'll be a link, in the description of this video of some base files. But before we talk about downloading that, I just want to talk about a couple of things. A couple of things you're going to have to sort of understand or know how to do to probably do this sort of stuff. You'll need to know how to remotely access your Pi. It's a good way you sort of edit things and view it on the Pi as you go. Now, one thing I should have mentioned up front, I'm a Mac user. I don't have a Windows computer, so I can't help the majority of people out there that'll be Windows users. But generally the principles are the same. It's just the software is a little bit different, etc. So one thing you're going to need to do is access the Pi remotely. Now with Windows, I believe it's this WinSCP or WinSCP, as people call it. I'm going to post a couple of YouTube video links that people have done guides on how to do it. You'll need to do that to make your own theme. If you're using a Mac, I use Filezilla, and you'll see that in the upcoming videos of me actually using that. And there is a YouTube video, there as well, on how to use that. So you'll need to learn how to do that. Now, the way you'll probably need to set yourself up as well is you'll have your computer that you'll be making your manipulations to the XML code on, and right beside it is your Pi and another monitor, and you need both of those connected to the internet, and you'll be they'll be talking to each other, and you'll be editing files on the fly, refreshing Emulation Station on the Pi, and viewing the changes. When you get into the little tweaking and fine-tuning and where you want things, there's a lot of that, but with a bit of practice it gets pretty easy actually. Tips for copying theme files to your Pi. So obviously you need to be connected like in the stuff above, but where your theme folder will go, but we'll get to this in greater detail when we get to that point. That's sort of where they're stored, but you need write access to the root of the Pi to be able to do that. But if you look when you're remoting into your Pi, and we'll look at that later, perhaps in the next video, there is a directory here which you have write access to, and you can just dump your man-made themes or own-made themes in there yourself. A couple of handy websites, which we'll cover these again when we get to them. But you'll need to know some HTML color code so you can change the color of your text and etc. on the screen. A big one though, I have Photoshop. I spend about 2 or 3 hours in Photoshop probably every single day, and have done for the last 2 or 3 years. I don't do it for a living. I do it as a hobby. I'm a business analyst. I sit at a desk and do all this other stuff, but I do Photoshop and these themes just for fun, for something to do. I'm an older guy, so I don't have all the younger distractions. My kids have grown up, etc. But look, I have Photoshop. Now, Photoshop's not free, unless you try and get it for free. I don't know. I bought mine years ago. I think it's now subscription based, which is a bit annoying. But so you're going to need some sort of photo editor. Look, I've posted one here to Filezilla editor. It's an online editor. You can do some basic like Photoshop stuff there. But if you really want to get into it, you're probably going to need something a little bit better. But this, and I think someone's told me there is some Photoshop online or free chopped down version of Photoshop. I don't know, but you'll need something to make your background files, and if you want to make your own wheel art, etc. I'm going to be providing some wheel art to you. So really all you need to do is probably make a couple of backgrounds, which you can just use Google and keep it quite basic, but you might want to take it a little bit further after a bit of practice. For Windows, a text editor, get Notepad++, it's free, download that if you're on Windows. On Mac I use Text Wrangler, sorry. I don't know what else is out there, but that's what I use. It's just a little bit better than the standard Notepad readers, etc. So a big one is making sure you know how to do this accessing to the Pi. You'll need to do that. So you pretty much can't make themes if you can't do that. And you do need the Pi and the computer you're working on side by side, because otherwise you can't be running from room to room to check little modifications. So just get any sort of monitor. One thing with that is I make everything 16:9. So that is important, because when you're positioning things on the screen, whatever you're making that to suit on the screen it's going to suit only those monitors really. There are some ways of making them suit other monitors, but I don't do it that way. So yeah, if you like 16:9, get a 16:9 monitor, make your themes on that. You know, if you're a 4:3 or a 16:10 guy, you want to build something through a 1-up arcade, you'll need to get a monitor that size so you can make your themes to fit accordingly. So there's a couple of links. There's going to be Hursty's Theme School Large and Hursty's Theme School Small. Basically they're the same apart from the amount of systems and collections they cover. This one, the Hursty's Theme Large, it should actually cover pretty much every system and collection that David Marty's Motion Blue Unified, his latest one, does. It should also cover all the folder structures that exist in the Retro Arena Odroid Teams build they're working on as we speak. So there's actually 281 systems and collections in the large file. The small version of it, let me just clean up this view here. You guys wouldn't know what I'm doing if you don't use a Mac. You can see it's a lot smaller. So there's actually only 87 systems and collections there. Actually, correction, there's no collections in this one. It's only systems. But it's all the main systems like Amiga, Amstrad, you know, Arcade, Atari 2600, etc. It hasn't got all the obscure ones like... do I have Open Bore? No, Open Bore, FM7, and yeah, there's so many. So it's up to you which one you download. Just start with the small one, perhaps. Once you sort of understand how collections work, you'll see, and you can go crazy and make your own collections, ones that I've never thought of, ones that might suit your needs. So we'll just look at the large one though. So the system folders, 3DO, 3DS, Amiga, Amstrad, etc. Now they need to be named correctly. Don't just leave these as is. They should match most base images that are going around. Sorry, I can't even remember the file that that they're supposed to match in ES. But so keep those. And then you'll see all these the collections just are named in a folder like this. So Art of Fighting, Asteroids, Batman, Battletoads. Now the naming conventions on that, if you're making your own, it doesn't really matter for a collection. So when you go into the game collection interface, so in ES you press start, game collections, and you can create from theme. So when you go create from theme, it's going to list all these ones that have been created, like Defender, Dig Dug, Disney, Donkey Kong, etc. So if you called it, if you had a Diddy Kong folder with some art in it, etc., you could create a collection in the theme menu and create a Diddy Kong collection, and then you go through and manually add the Diddy Kong games to that collection. So there's they're basically just all the system and collection folders, the whole lot of them there. But there's a different folder, which is the _inc, which we'll talk about, and you'll see one file here, which is the theme.xml. The theme.xml file is the main, that's where all the magic happens, I suppose. All the code for the theme, well, most of it is in there, which we'll look at in a minute. And then inside each one of these folders, all the systems and collections, there's a theme XML file in there as well. Now, if you don't have this file in here, and we'll talk about it in later videos, when you're scrolling the main menu in Emulation Station, there'll be no wheel art. So you'll just get that where it has the black text, you know, you'll see BBC Micro and all that sort of stuff. So that's file's important for that. Plus it does a couple of other things which we'll talk about later. So we were inside the 3DO folder, for instance, there's that. Then this has its own _inc folder, which is obviously includes or inclusions. And in there we only have one file. So I'm just going to zoom in on it. And all it is the wheel art. But most importantly, it's named system. So when you download this base file, it's going to have all this folder structure, all the wheel art. Let's pick it up. Where's arcade? So much stuff here. Arcade. We've got the theme.xml for it, and the includes folder. There we go. We've got the Arcade Classics wheel art. So if you were replacing and making your own wheel art or your own wheel art designs, you'd have to put it arcade one in this arcade folder and then in the inc folder, and it would have to be named system.png. That's how I do it. I think there's a couple other ways, but I don't like it and I don't even really understand it. So this is the way I do it. But if you're just going to use these normal wheel art that are included, like these, they're just clear background. There's no box around them. When you use them, they're just clear background. It's already all set up for you, so you don't have to worry about all that. So in this one, there's 280 something. All right, so we've got the theme, the main theme XML file, which is going to probably be a series of videos on its own. But this other folder we'll talk about now, this inc folder, there's a fonts folder in there, which is pretty self-explanatory, but it's just fonts. Now I've included 7 here, just different ones, just to show you. So you can download fonts free on the internet. Just look for free fonts, get the tt.ttf file, whack it in here, and then you'll be using this name of the font inside the XML file, which we'll cover in later videos. And then there's an images folder. So these are the images that are used in the theme. So what we've got here is, let me just tidy up this view again. I have a main bottom and a main top. Now this will be more obvious once we start getting into it, because I'm actually going to show you how to do 2 layers on the main menu. So this will be in the background. I might even zoom in a bit more. This will be in the background. The wheel art will be shooting across here. The game count or the system info will be here. This young lady is going to position herself right over the top here, and the wheel art will be going behind her. So we'll show you how to do that. Just get back a bit. There's a star empty and a star filled, so that's your rating stars once you've scraped. So you'd actually, this is just a blank image, but there is a star filled as well. If it's 2.5 stars, it will show 2 stars, and then it cuts off this star halfway. It'll just go up to 5, but you need both of those, but they're included in the file. And then we've got 2 system views. So I don't know if you're familiar with the views, but you can change the view style to video, detailed or basic. We won't go into the detail of them, we will later in future videos. But this one is called system video, but it's used for video and detail, because as you know, it'll have the game list, it'll have the snap, it'll have the description, the rating and all that sort of stuff, and we'll show you how to position all that. And then there's the basic view, which is pretty much a static image with a game list, and that's for systems that haven't been scraped. There's no wheel art or snaps or information about it. It's just a game list, just listed there. So those files are included. So we'll just show you how to use those. I keep saying we, I don't know we, it's just me, sorry. It's been a long day. It's in the evening here in Australia when I'm recording this. I've had a big day at work. So, alright, so that's the files there. So inside the ink folder, we've got images and fonts, which is this one here. All the rest are systems and collections. There's one main theme.xml. So what I'd suggest is, to get started, is, let me go back. Zoom in might be better. So you need to learn how to remotely access your Pi. How you're going to copy, after you download the base theme files, either the small or the large, doesn't matter. You'll need to copy it over to your Pi, but I'll show that probably in the next video to get you started. Or if you think you know how to do it, just do it. You just go to this location here and you'll see a themes folder. Now if you, correction, note, let me just read this. There we go. By default, so I knew it was there somewhere, this new themes folder does not exist, so simply create it. When you go to homepy.emulationstation, if there's no themes folder in there, just create, in this remote access, whatever you're using, Filezilla or WinSCP, create new folder, call it themes, then go inside that, and then you'll just copy the whole folder in. So you'll either have Hursty's Theme School Large or Hursty's Theme School Small. Okay, so don't copy all the individual folders in, you copy the whole folder in like this. So it'll be homepy.emulationstation /themes / Hursty's Theme School Small, Hursty's Theme School Large. I hope that makes sense. We'll actually do it later. I was going to do it in this video, but I've just realized I've just formatted the SD card that I was going to use. So that's okay. So we'll do that next time. All right. So all you need to do is download either the big or small. Doesn't matter. You can reuse the files from one to the other anyway. Download the files. Have a look around. Just familiarize yourself with it. We might even just quickly, before we go, we'll open one of the individual XML files. Let's go with arcade. They're actually all the same, but we'll show you that later. I'm going to open that in Text Wrangler for me, just so you can see the difference. Mac's doing a few things in the background, so it's a bit slow. Alright, so this entry here is what makes the individual wheel art appear on the main menu. Remember I said if you don't have this file in each folder of all the systems, you'll have no wheel art. And then we've got some other code here, which I'm not going to talk about today. We'll talk about another day. Actually, let me just open that again. I just want to show you the difference. So the individual system or collection ones are quite small, not much code in them at all. The main XML file, you'll see, has a lot more information in it. In future videos, we're just going to go through all of this systematically. We're just going to start at the top and we're going to work our way through every line. We're going to talk about it, we're going to change it, and we're going to actually see what it does on the screen. Just so you can sort of understand what each one of these things does, and then before too long, you'll be manipulating, moving things around. and you'll be able to make your own theme in no time. Honestly, it's not hard. The hardest bit is just being able to make a good looking image for the backgrounds and the wheel art. The code part, anyone can learn. As I said, I don't know code. I don't know HTML. I don't know XML, squirrel language, all this stuff. I don't know it. But you just got to understand what it might do, and yeah. But we'll show you that, and all the bones are in these files you're downloading, so it won't be too hard. I've rambled on probably for too long. I'm not good at making these types of videos. I really hope it's going to be worthwhile. So maybe post some comments down below, because if we get some good feedback and we want to continue this, happy to go with it. But if no one's really interested and they just want me to make themes and they download them and other people make themes, that's cool. But if it's going to be worthwhile, I'll do it. And yeah, hopefully you can get something out of it, and yeah, start making your own themes. It's can be addictive. I'm a bit obsessive compulsive, hence why I've made so many, but it is very satisfying to make something yourself. So hopefully I can give you some tips and we can get you started. Alright guys, I'll make some more videos after we hear some feedback from you guys, and hopefully it'll all work out. Cheers guys, see ya.